In this video, I'm going to discuss the topic of reaccumulation and redistribution. We're going to get pretty nitty-gritty here. I'm going to go into the small price fluctuations on a 10-minute chart. You could break this down to a 5-minute chart, all the way down to a 30-second chart, 1-second chart. What I want to discuss here are some of the more granular movements of price, and so that you have a framework. Basically, I want you to have a comprehensive framework to be able to describe what price is doing basically at all times. But one way that you have to do that is you have to learn what is reaccumulation and what is redistribution, as opposed to the sort of standard accumulation and distribution model. Okay, guys, my referral links are in the description box below. Apex Trader Funding is currently running a sale. Please make sure to use them. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You are liable for your own decisions. Trading futures involves substantial risk, including more capital than you put in your account. Do not trade with funds that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, guys. So with that being said, everybody pretty much knows at this point, right, that this is your standard accumulation and distribution model. Okay, so accumulation is going to be on the way up. The market reaches a sort of zenith. And then the sell side of the curve is called distribution. Okay, that's basic Wyckoff model. ICT talks about it as well. Not that ICT is Wyckoff, it's not. But the basic idea, right, is accumulation on the way up, distribution on the way down. That's not what I want to focus on here. If you need to learn the basics of what is accumulation and distribution, the sort of bigger moves in price, I'd recommend that you go watch ICT's videos on accumulation and distribution. Accumulation and offset distribution. What I want to talk about here are the smaller, more granular movements in price so that you have a way to describe them. Okay? So let's take, for example, this fractal in price. Right here, where the market moves back down momentarily, that is redistribution. Okay, sorry, reaccumulation. The small granular movements, so let's say the price's objective was to run on this buy-side liquidity, which it ultimately did. Every time that the market moves down slightly, reaccumulation, 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 reaccumulation. Ultimately, until, again, reaccumulation here, we ran on short-term sell stops, we ran on short-term buy-side liquidity, we reaccumulated, and we ran on more buy-side liquidity. We then ran on some sell-side liquidity, reaccumulated, so notice that we have stops taken. And then, again, we run on the same buy-side liquidity, reaccumulation, and then ultimately we run on major buy-side liquidity. Okay? Every time that the market, when you look at a big price move up, you're going to see these points that are reaccumulation. And what are some of the patterns that you're looking for? It's the same exact patterns that you're always looking for, right? How do you want to be able to, how can you identify what is reaccumulation, where the market is likely to continue going higher? Well, here we had a fair value gap, right? So the market reaccumulated there. And then similarly, notice that the market reaccumulated on a rejection block, or you could call this a bullish order block here, right? So this candle right here, the 50% point of that, notice that the market, the last candle before a move higher, if we're calling that the order block, notice that the market comes in, reaccumulates on this bullish order block, it again reaccumulates on the same bullish order block, and we continue running on buy-side liquidity. That is the essence of reaccumulation and redistribution. And if you want to be able to sort of ascertain whether the market is more likely to make a substantial move higher or a substantial move lower, or it's merely reaccumulating or redistributing, you need to take other factors into account, like what time of day it is, what day of the week it is, but especially what time of the day it is. If you're currently in the overnight session, in the Asian session, pre-London, as in the New York Stock Exchange is not open, you really don't expect there usually to be very large sustained moves in the futures market, meaning that any moves higher or lower are probably reaccumulation or redistribution. Is that always the case? No. But guys, you always have to factor in what time is it, what time of the day it is, what time of the week it is, and any seasonal tendencies that you're aware of. Okay, guys, along with your news events, so your calendars. Do we have economic events coming up like we do here? All right, we've got a Fed interest rate decision coming up, so we know that we're expecting there to be market volatility coming into Wednesday's trading, right? So, all right, let's get some more examples. Let's talk about reaccumulation and redistribution and identify where they are. Okay, so I'm going to start with our rectangle and I'm going to point out this fractal of price. Reaccumulation here, reaccumulation here, and reaccumulation here. And ultimately, what did the market do? Ran on that buy-side liquidity. Then the market started to turn around. Okay, so let's talk about redistribution, and let's talk about this fractal of price on the electronic trading hours. Okay, this move higher, redistribution. This move higher, redistribution. This move higher, redistribution, until finally, what was the ultimate objective of price? We traded into this fair value gap here. Okay. So, what are some trade ideas on this redistribution? Well, if you know your order blocks, right there, they didn't quite make it there. You could have used the inverted wick right there. Or, alternatively, you could have used these two candles as combined as an order block. Notice that the market respects that and then runs on the short-term sell-side liquidity. We have another redistribution in this fractal of price right here. Okay? Redistribution here. Notice where the market turns around. It turns around, roughly at this rejection block. It's difficult for me to say what pattern I'm seeing here, but notice that the market redistributed and again runs further on the sell-side liquidity. Okay? So, the basic idea of reaccumulation and redistribution are these small gyrations in price, these small counter-trend moves before price makes its ultimate move to run on buy-side or sell-side liquidity. So, for example, this fractal in price here that I have highlighted in the yellow box, this would be a reaccumulation. Okay, so notice that we have a bullish fair value gap, buy-side imbalance, sell-side inefficiency. The market trades back into it, and then the market runs on this buy-side liquidity up here. Okay? So putting the pieces together, guys, if you put your timing together, if you know where your liquidity is sitting, which is always above recent highs and recent lows, and you take these things together, you can identify what these small gyrations in price are. They are reaccumulation and redistribution for the larger move higher or lower. All right? So, let's go on our 10-minute chart and look at another fractal of price. All right, so I'm going to show this fractal of price here. And I'm going to point out to you where the market reaccumulated. So reaccumulation here, 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 here. This was obviously, in relation to this move, a reaccumulation. Reaccumulation here. And a final reaccumulation here until the market finally exhausted itself above that buy-side liquidity. Okay, so guys, let's take the next fractal of price and I'll show you redistribution. All right. This move higher here, redistribution. So this candle here was a redistribution. This candle here was a redistribution. This fractal here, I'm pointing out with my cursor, that was a redistribution. That was a redistribution until finally the market ran ultimately all the way back to this sell-side liquidity here. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3 stages of redistribution until finally the market started consolidating, and then ultimately we had another move higher. So guys, basically every gyration or fluctuation in price can be described. And that's what I'm pointing out to you in this video. These small gyrations in price, don't always assume that they're the start of a new grand trend. They're probably reaccumulation or redistribution. Take your factors like time into account. Here, I'll show you the same concept here. We have a move down. Notice that the market comes back up, trades into this sell-side imbalance, buy-side inefficiency here, and we redistribute for a run lower on this sell-side liquidity and this sell-side liquidity here. Okay, guys, so that's reaccumulation and redistribution. They're these small counter-trend movements, relatively small relative to where the market ultimately goes. Small counter-trend movements in price that ultimately reaccumulate or redistribute. So in this video, guys, I covered the topic of reaccumulation and redistribution, which describes these small gyrations or small fluctuations in a price leg, higher or lower, which is a part of the accumulation distribution model, or ICT's sort of overall model. Okay, guys, in this video we discussed reaccumulation and redistribution. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.